something a little different today and compare the pros and cons of these two Lionel Lion Chief train sets. Both of them were released in the volume 2023 Lionel catalog. This was in volume 1, this was in volume 2. They both go for about the same price, and they're both about, you know, they get a loop of track. They both are Lion Chief. They're both relatively spec-wise similar, so let's discuss some of the differences. So obviously, one is an 1800s, you know, train set, and one is a Harry Potter train set. So definitely complete opposite ends of the spectrum on what they are, and I like them both, but there's some things I like about more with some than the others. Right out of the gate, there's quite a bit of difference between these two. And the detail and size of this Hogwarts Express engine is just ridiculous, especially for one that is in his starter set. And the General is pretty well detailed, but at the end of the day, it's the same tooling that they've had for decades that they've used for the General. And when you look at them side by side, it almost looks kind of odd because, at least in my mind, I'm not an expert, these engines probably should be relatively around the same size, but this General is absolutely puny compared to the Hogwarts Express. I don't know. They're probably both not scale, but just to me, it's just so weird, you know, because British trains are fairly small. And I don't know if this thing's scale or semi-scale. It might even be too big for the type of engine it is. I'm not too sure. And so far, you know, I would be giving Hogwarts Express a little bit of an edge in the engine category, but let's take a look at the rolling stock. So the first piece of rolling stock is this gondola, and it has a nice load in it that has some cast-in detail into the plastic, showing the, you know, freight items underneath, while the Hogwarts Express, you get what you get. You get 3 passenger cars, identical, and I can't really see much of a difference in between them. And you get 2 passenger cars on the Gold Mountain set. One which is really nicely detailed. The other one looks pretty good. Overall, the Gold Mountain set has a lot more variety in its type of passenger cars. I would say quality-wise, the Hogwarts Express is probably a higher quality rolling stock as opposed to the Gold Mountain here. As far as the sounds go, they're both of similar quality sounds, you know, pretty decent, pretty good, especially for a starter set. As far as running goes, the General is definitely starting to show its age in tooling. It has a lot of gear noise and has basically non-existent slow speed control, while the Hogwarts Express just kind of blows it out of the water. It is so smooth running at slow speeds. It's fairly quiet as far as the noise coming from the motor, and it just runs really quietly and smoothly, and the sounds are good. And I would probably still give the edge to the Hogwarts Express. So at the end of the day, which of these two completely different sets, which have basically the same loop of track, the same price, and the same capabilities, would I say is the best? As it's probably no surprise, I would say the Hogwarts Express is definitely a better bang for your buck. But at the same time, I know British trains aren't everyone's cup of tea. Honestly, they aren't really mine either. And, you know, I'll give the General an extra point just for being an American engine. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing holding this set back is the old tooling that they're using for this General. Now, Lionel did do a special release Golden Spike set a few years back with some newer 440 tooling, but they said they couldn't fit the sounds into the tender, so they had to have a special car that they towed, which I thought was kind of odd. I mean, you could fit sounds into N scale and HO scale, and you can't fit sounds into an O scale tender. It just seems kind of weird. It might have been a little quieter, but you could get some pretty good sounds out of those HO steam engines. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not a designer, so I don't know the specifics of it, but it just seemed a little odd to me. But I think definitely either a quieter drive system or a smoother drive system, even in this General shell, would really take this engine a long way. But they're both pretty good starter sets. They both go for around anywhere from $370 to $450, depending on where you buy them and if you get them on sale and, you know, what you can find. They both have additional cars you can get. The Hogwarts Express has a Dementors coach, which lights up on the inside, makes noises, and has Dementors in the windows. And this train set has a tank car, and I'm not too sure what's special about it, but it's an expensive tank car. It actually costs more than the Dementors coach, which, from what I can see, I haven't done too much research in it. It just seems to be a tank car, which I thought was kind of odd. But they're definitely both good sets, and I would recommend either of them to whoever wants to get a nice starter set to put under their tree or get started, or if you just like these style of trains. But I think the Hogwarts Express definitely gets the upper edge in pretty much almost every category. Alrighty, well, I'm going to say goodbye. My little pup is going to say goodbye, and we'll go ahead and see you later.